That's not going to help at all. I should have just left those off. It's going to be a dark night tonight, folks. Felt like sitting outside. Had a lot of outside time today, but felt like a little more. Oh, dear, dear, dearie me. No, dude. No. I ain't looking to co-host any shows. I got plenty of shows to co-host. What happened at Worski's? Nothing really. Went in there, memed a couple of times. They had a bunch of people in there that are clearly way more familiar with the, shit going on, and I wanted to make room for those. I was just taking up a slot. The destroyer of podcasts and eater of children. Did I miss you confronting Andy face to face about the DP shit? Yes, you did. But it's out there. I think that the stream that it actually happened on is in YouTube processing hell, and only the last half of it is available, which doesn't really include me roasting Andy. But a few people have clipped it. If you search for Paul's Ego versus Andy or whatever, you should be able to find a clip that isn't the main Kumite stream. Or it might be up now. I don't know. I haven't checked today. If the original stream has finally gone up. But it was fun. Whatever. It was all for the memes anyway. I'll tell you what, I feel a whole lot better about Andy Worski, you know what I mean, in terms of, like, personally. I this is the problem with me, dude, is when I get real mad at people. Not even to say that I was real mad at Andy Worski. But when I get angry at people and I kind of dismiss them, if I ever get the opportunity to confront them about it, I'm usually pretty mean. And then I usually end up feeling at least a little bad afterwards. You know what I mean? I don't like Andy for platforming stupid ass white nationalist retards. I don't like that direction of his show. I don't like a lot of the things that he said on the show. I don't like his political viewpoints, those that he can elucidate. You know what I mean? Well enough for me to get a grasp on. He and I don't see eye to eye a lot there. But he still does what I do for a living at the end of the day. And that means something. You know what I mean? So there is at least that thread of commonality between me and Andy Worski. We both do this for a living. And he was getting pooped on his own show. And it wasn't going to end well for him. And it may not end well for him now. See, that's the thing. It's one of the things I was planning on telling Andy, but, he had like 90 fucking people in there tonight. And everybody in there knew way more about the situation than I did. So, my presence there didn't make a whole lot of sense. But, he may fail because of this. That's the thing. Is that this may be something that causes the downfall of his channel or causes a big downturn in terms of the amount of money he's able to make. I mean, I don't know how the fallout is going to be in their community. I don't really have my finger on the pulse like I have, on DP or our current show. I don't really know what the mood of the fans is over there and how their allegiances lie and shit. But there's a chance that this doesn't turn out well for Andy Worski. But you know what? He's still better off. He's still better off. And people would say, oh, you think he'd still be better off if, like, he could go back in time and not fire JF and then he'd still be, on a popular show? And I'd say yes. And here's why. Because Andy, when he founded Worski Live, clearly saw himself as a guy guiding the conversation, as the guy that had the vision behind the show. And at some point, he stopped chasing that. And he started chasing viewers and letting JF kind of dictate who came on his show and letting JF dictate the flow of the conversation. Because, the fucking alt-right, white nationalist, Jews suck all day crowd brings a lot of fucking eyeballs right now. And he lost control of his show. He lost creative control. He lost the passion to do it. and it showed. And, I'm not claiming to be the wise old man of the internet or something, but I've got a little bit of experience. I can speak from a little bit of experience in terms of a lot of what Andy's going through. You know what I mean? In terms of being on a really big show, in terms of there being pressures and problems and arguments and bad dynamics involved behind the scenes on that show. And having a big schism happen in that show and watching the fan community go ape shit. I've been down at least those roads. You know what I mean? I don't know much about Andy's, as far as the details of his situation. I don't know much. I don't know all the principal facts. So that's a limiting factor in me being able to talk about it. But I can talk about it in general terms because there's not many people out there that have been through the shit I've been through. There's not many people you can go and talk to and say, hey, what's it like to be on a big fucking show? And then have it all fall apart. There might be 15 or 20 people you could think of off the top of your head, and maybe one of them would get back to you. You know what I mean? I'm a rare breed. Not bragging, just being honest. I'd honestly have a beer with Worski, although we're opposed on issues. I mean, I have a beer with almost goddamn anybody. And that's the truth, dude. I can, as long as, that's all it was. It was sitting down across the table having a beer. I can't really think of anybody I wouldn't have a beer with. Having a beer is, you know what I mean? It always bothered me that was like the measure of whether or not somebody was good or not, because I don't have to think somebody's good to sit down across the table from them, man to man or person to person, as it may be, and have a beer with them. I'd drink a beer with Hitler. I'd sit across the table from Idi Amin. Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman, fucking, any of these fucks. Any of these, I don't care. As long as that's all it is me sitting across the table over a fucking big mug of frosty-ass beer, having a conversation. Love to have a beer with Manson. Yeah, see? What are you apologizing for? Whatever the slight was, I don't even remember it. But, yeah, man. I'd have a beer with Gorilla, sure. Wouldn't fight a gorilla, but I'd have a beer with one. Well, don't worry about that, mon frere. You gonna get a show. You gonna get a show, man. You're gonna like watching it too. You're gonna have fun watching it too. You're gonna like it. You're gonna get a big fucking boner when you watch it, eh? You're gonna try to turn it off and go take a shit, but you're gonna fucking find yourself not able to, eh? You're gonna sit there, eh? You're gonna sit there, eh? You're gonna sit there and you're gonna watch it. And you're gonna shit your fucking pants, eh? Like a fucking baby in a diaper, eh? Like a little fucking baby in a diaper, eh? And there ain't nothing you can do about it. There ain't shit you can do about it, Holmes. That's how fucking good of a show you gonna get tomorrow, eh? Don't fuck with me, cabron. Tell me to put on a good show like you don't know whose fucking casa this is, Holmes. I fucking live here. I fucking eat here, essay. But you don't know who you talking to. Keep your fucking mouth shut, eh? Come over there and slapped your fucking face, man. Slapped your fucking face, man. Slap you fucking face. Cringe. Oh, okay, I'll stop. Sorry guys, I made that dude cringe, so I'm gonna stop. This is a little racist. Okay. Whoops. A white guy did an impersonation of somebody that isn't white. Call Anita Sarkeesian. Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo. Bring, bring. Hello, this is Anita Sarkeesian. Hi, yes, this is, George Costanza from Paul Zingo's channel. Oh, yes, George Costanza. Yeah. Go ahead, sir. I just thought I'd like you to know, that Paul Zingo just spent about 15 minutes making fun of a Mexican person on his channel. Oh, my goodness. I'll alert the presses right away, George Costanza. Your impression of me is cringe. Your existence is cringe. My impression of you should be cringe. It's a good impression because it's cringe, because it's so fucking close to the source material, George. You are one thick fucking coconut, bro. I think they need to fucking hang you back up in the tree and let you ripen a little longer. I think they plucked you a little early, George. Hello, Beard Man. Hello, JMY. How are you? Am I okay, dude? I'm great. I'm doing good. Don't fuck with my mojo, man. I'm having a good time, and you're like, Paul, how are you doing? Are you okay? It's like, man, can a dude have a good night? Can a dude sit in his backyard and talk shit? Let me tell you, I actually genuinely had a good day today. Asshole. Woke up early. Went into New Orleans with TJ and Chelsea, and most importantly, Ashley. We went to the aquarium. I took picture of fish. Define early. Good point. Oh, shit. The fucking mosquito just buzzed my ear, dude. Holy shit, he went all the way in my ear canal and then flew the fuck out. That was such a weird feeling. Whoa. Hold on, I gotta... Oh, that was gross. I've never had that happen to me in my life. Like, I had like bugs and flies. Oh man, that was weird. Thank goodness he didn't get like hung up in some earwax in there and just fucking get trapped. Holy shit. He flew right out. Yeah, dude, the fucking mosquito just raped me in the ear. It flew right down my ear canal. I shit you not, I could feel it, like, deep in there. You know that feeling when you take a Q-tip and you clean out your ear and you go a little too deep and you're like, that's the part that I'm not supposed to be doing this. Okay, all right, I felt it hit that. It went, and it got all loud when it went in there, and then it, like, as I was going up to, like, touch it, turned around and flew out. What the fuck? Sorry, that's just a weird thing to, you know. have happen for the first time to you as a human being. You know, I've been around a while. I've sat outside with a lot of fucking blood-sucking mosquitoes and shit, and I've never had one fucking do a tap dance on my eardrum and then fly back out of my fucking ear before. It's a first for me. Was laying eggs. Shut up. It was something you believed as a kid but had no logical reason to. I used to think because TVs were black and white, people saw in black and white. You know, I probably at one point when I was a kid believed that too. And I remember asking my mom about it when we were watching The Wizard of Oz together, because there's that cool transition in The Wizard of Oz where, you know, Dorothy steps out into the land of Oz for the first time and sees in color for the first time. And I asked my mom, I was like, whoa. You know, how you know, I was just really interested in how that happened. How could they do that? And I think the root of that was I just believed that back then people didn't see colors. Weird little childlike inversion of the truth. But to answer your question, hold on, I'm gonna bookmark your question because there was a super chat. GTG, all the best, Paul, wisest of them all. Good night, skeptical Jesus. Thank you. To answer your question, I believed a lot of stupid shit when I was a kid. I grew up with an ultra superstitious mother. Not super religious, you know. I mean, my mom always was and remains a Christian, believes in the Bible and all of that, but read it to me even as a kid, taught me to say prayers and stuff. But when I got to the age where I started to question it and didn't really want anything to do with it, she never pushed me. So it wasn't really that stuck with me. It was all of her strange superstitions. For example, if I spill salt, this is a funny one, it being me and memes being as they are. If I spill the salt at the table, I will immediately put some in my left hand, not my right hand, sprinkle some in my left hand, and throw it over my left shoulder. I do this almost automatically. I did it at a Waffle House in front of TJ and Chelsea just a few weeks ago. I've done it in front of Ashley before, probably. Why? Because it's bad luck to spill the salt. And if you spill the salt, which is something that's common, then the only way to ward off the bad luck is to sprinkle some salt with your right hand into your left hand, throw it over your shoulder. That's not even really one that I think my mom drilled home in me. That was one that I picked up I mean, I might have heard it from her the first time, but that one I think I brought into my own orbit. Walking under a ladder, I will never do it. If there's a big ladder set up or something, you will never ever one time see me walk underneath it. I don't like breaking mirrors, and I feel a sense of dread after I do. I don't like black cats that aren't owned by some, you know what I mean? Like if I'm at somebody's house and they got a black cat, I'm fine. I like all animals. But if I see a black cat at night out when I'm out walking around, you know, and nobody else is around and it crosses my path, fuck me, dude. One crow is bad luck, 2 crows is death. Rip. She didn't drill these things home in me. It wasn't like she was like, oh my God, but I watched her, I observed her observe these things, had conversations with her about them, And they took root in my brain, you know, and became my own superstitions. But I assume that her superstitions were passed to her from someone just in the same way. So it's kind of interesting to see how it happened to me and why those types of behaviors persist throughout generations of people. Somebody says break the cycle. I've thought about it, you know. I've thought about it, like, but a part of me is like, why do that? I kind of like them. You know, my life is pretty devoid of tradition. I'm very wary of it. Ritual as well. I'm very careful about the ritual that I allow into my life. Little things, I mean, whatever. We're not going to get into the like the nature of what is ritual and what isn't, because that'll just be a whole show. Everybody will be arguing and bickering, and it's just bullshit. Suffice it to say, I limit those things in my life because I fundamentally mistrust them. I even mistrust the ones I allow in my life. But there's a part of me that enjoys adhering to those little ritualistic behaviors. And it's not like it comes up every day. I don't spill the salt. I'm actually extra careful around the salt because I don't like doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not around ladders a lot. You know, I don't work in construction or anything, so it doesn't come up for me. So it's not like something that I'm like, oh my God, dude, the ladders. You know, don't get it twisted. I'm just saying, in those situations, as they come up in my life, which they do, every once in a while, my fat ass has to be around a ladder. Every once in a while, my fat ass is walking around at night somewhere where there's not a lot of people around. Every once in a while, my fat ass looks up at the power lines in town and sees what birds are sitting on them and wonders if those black ones are crows. I kind of like it. So I don't want to get rid of it. I don't think it's harming anybody. I'm not proselytizing it to people. I'm not trying to get other people to believe it. In fact, I'm sitting here talking about how it's total bullshit. But I personally kind of enjoy the ritual. Is that so wrong? Is that a detriment to me? I don't think so. No harm, no foul. That's exactly how I see it. I don't have any children. Now, if I had kids, we'd be having a different discussion. But I won't ever have kids, so doesn't really come up. Makes you anxious. Here's the thing. Isn't that what ritual is supposed to be? Fuck, nah, man, I don't want to get in this conversation, but let's just do it briefly. Isn't that what ritual is supposed to be? If we strip it down and look at what are people getting from the exchange? Why do people engage in specifically religious ritual, but any kind of ritualistic behavior? What's the interplay? The interplay is being able to emotionalize some object or motion or pose of the body or recitation of prayer or whatever it is, whatever gets your rocks off. It's not really about conformity. It's about wanting to connect a very real human emotion to something that isn't human so that you can project an array of different emotions onto it. Sadness, despair, anger, frustration, want, need, desperation, anxiety, depression, abject failure. Everybody experiences all of those things that I just listed in their lives at some point or another. And everybody turns to another human being and says, fix this about me. Help me through this, please. put the puzzle together in my mind for me. And they always try and help, but they're never able to put that puzzle together. So we go looking elsewhere. We want to find something that isn't flawed like the human beings that we go to, that knows the answer, right? Now, I'm not saying I project all of this onto my little rituals, but I think that it's seeded in that in me. I think that's why my brain enjoys doing these stupid, meaningless little things that were passed on to me, kind of by blood. You guys think I'm wrong or right? Like, what do you think? I think it is to I think you're trying to say relieve them of anxiety. You educate your own you create your own set of rules and adhere to fuck, man, I'm having so much trouble with your sorry, it's really dark out here and the screen is really bright. Maybe I can turn down the fucking, well, because if I do that, you guys won't be able to see my fucking face at all, and that's pointless. But it's like the contrast of how dark it is out here and how bright this fucking screen is making it hard to read that big block of shit. Hey, Paul, just got off a 13-hour shift. Got to be back at work in 8 hours. But how's your night going? Pretty good. Thanks for asking. Hope your work night is better than having to go right back to fucking work after you just got off of work. You know what I mean? I hope it ends up being easier than you're expecting it to be. Because I know those feels, dude. Man, I just had like a wave of human empathy wash over me for a dude in a position like that. I'm not saying I've filled his shoes. I'm just saying I've been at jobs where it's like that. You work all fucking day and you get home, you take your shoes off, you get in the shower, you eat, whatever you can throw together in 15 minutes, you sit down, you eat that, you fall into bed, and like no time later, the alarm is going off and you're going right back to do it all again. And let me tell you guys something. For all the bitching I do about modern society and stuff, the fact that that kind of job isn't always necessary for everybody anymore is something that we need to be thankful for about modern society. You know what I mean? Like, that used to be, that and worse, used to be just what was expected of you, to just get enough food to buy enough bread to put it in your belly to come back and do it again. You know what I mean? Like, that was the lot in life of countless generations of your ancestors. And it still is. Oh, there's somebody in the fucking chat there. Still is for most. For most people in the world, that's their grind. Now, maybe that is your grind right now, too. The dude in here, I'm not trying to make light of your fucking shit. I'm just saying, be thankful, like, for the little things. You know what I mean? That's progress. That's really at the core of my whole stance politically when it comes to the whole anti-progressive movement. Now, I got to tell you, I don't buy into everything that every progressive, or I don't even really like calling myself a progressive, although I guess in the sense that I'm talking about it, I am. I want society to continue to progress towards making people's lives less filled with fucking misery and more filled with choices about what they can do. And when I see that happening over the course of generations, I'm not going to pretend it's not there. Even though I, advocate all the time for tearing down the system and building something new and finding good minds that can build new things and try new political ideas and, preparing for the collapse and all of that shit. If we are going to preserve this, that's the jewel. Because a human life is a sum of hours. And the less time that you have to trade of your life doing something that you hate just to live a life that's reasonably comfortable, the better your hours are. And that's all we have that's common. All this spiritual shit, all this political shit that people go off on, whatever, it has its place. I'm not trying to say it, more power to them. To me, the commonality amongst us is that our lot in life is shared. I tie a lot of emotion when I'm talking about things like what we're talking about tonight. So I have to be careful with what I say, because this is one of the few issues that I feel I have some, if minor, authority to speak on. And that's the value of labor. And I'm not going to talk about how I've worked hard and blah, blah. No. I'm not even going to talk about my own labor. I'm going to talk about labor as a concept. Because the way I see life, if you guys listening, this is probably not a revelation to you, but let me just, and this is not my theory of everything. This is just my personal view of life is that every conscious human being on this planet is here for just a very, very brief amount of time. And some briefer than others, and there's really no way to tell who's who in that pile of people. And we are beings, because of our development of consciousness, we're beings that experience suffering in a very real way. And anything that we can do as a collective species to reduce that suffering, not just for ourselves, but for everyone besides, is a good thing. Because it means that those hours spent here on the planet that are so limited for all of us are spent doing something productive for our species. Now, maybe that is making Cheetos at a factory. People, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that the most minor things are productive, but what I'm saying is your labor is your life. When you go get a job, and this is something that most people, or at least, I don't know, maybe most people don't have to go get a job. I don't know. I don't want to speak out of turn. But let's just assume most people at some point in their life have to go out and get a fucking job. I know I did. What you're doing is you're giving those hours that I was talking about that make up the sum of your life, however many they may be. And you're selling them to someone else. And make no bones about it, that is the exchange. Unless you're a business owner, unless you are self-employed. But even then, all you have to do to find your master is to look at who's in the hierarchy above you. You might own your own fucking business, but other businesses are bigger than you. They're higher in the hierarchy than you. They drink your milkshake. They're your boss. They jerk your chain. And above them, the government. So you see what I'm saying about our shared lot in life and the value of labor? You work for someone. You are selling them your hours. Yes? And that's the most important transaction that you'll ever make as a human being. I don't care about your first house purchase, your first car purchase, buying your engagement ring for the woman that you know love, um, buying your big Gucci gang necklace or whatever it is the fuck that your heart's desire is. Nothing will ever compare to that transaction because that's the most precious resource that you have as a person is your hours here, alive, breathing, watching Paul's ego in the middle of the night ramble on and on. But that's your choice, you know. I get passionate about labor because I was raised in a very, very super duper pro union household. My father was a president of a local glass molders, pottery, plastics union. There's a big glass plant in the town I grew up with, and both of them worked there. Both of them were union officials. My dad was president of the union for a number of years. And I saw how much passion there was in just the arguments about. I was very privileged to get to go to union meetings when I was a kid. And maybe this is not standard procedure in a union, but I was just a little kid and they didn't have anybody to leave me with. So sometimes they'd put me in the corner and give me something to play with and be like, you know, we're going to go do a union meeting. And I never played with whatever they gave me. The first time I was taken there, I paid attention to every word that was said. I loved it. Let me tell you guys a story. I hope nobody, it's been so long, nobody's going to get in trouble. This is a fucking great story. I can't believe that this meme has never popped out of me yet, but whatever. See, this is why when people say, tell a story, Paul, I have to arrive at a story sometimes, but this is a fucking humdinger. I'm going to get something to drink, so stick around for story time, okay? I just, you know, I got a little cotton mouth. Hold on. Damn it, Paul. Not in a state to add to the conversation, but love this and have to go. Good stuff. We'll listen later. Feeling yo union vibes and resonating. All right, man. Stay tuned. Dude, oh, I can't believe I never told this story. Come on. Ooh. Oh, okay. Might have to keep my voice down a little bit. It's late and we got neighbors, so. You guys can hear me okay at this level here, right? Just, you know, a consensus among you. I'll wait. Yes. Okay. Just making sure. I might sound a little croaky because I have to talk in hushed tones. I don't want to be yelling. Okay, just making sure you guys can hear. Okay, so as I was telling you guys earlier, I every once in a while got to go to union meetings when I was a kid, when my dad was president. And like I said, I would pay attention to all of them. But the first one that I got to go to was probably why I paid attention to all of them. Because it was it was awesome. So my dad's, you know, he's telling me, yeah, I'm gonna have to take you to this meeting, and you know, you're gonna you bring a book, and I'm gonna take you to McDonald's. We'll get you something to eat real quick. You can eat that. You just gotta sit over there on the couch in the corner, and we're gonna sit at the table, and Daddy's gonna, you know, he's explaining it to me. I'm like, okay, whatever. But as he's explaining to me, he's like, yeah, Daddy's gonna sit there, and he's gonna talk to people, and some of those people, they might yell at your dad, okay? But you just have to understand that it's like, this is how, and I was like, what? You know, I didn't say that. I just sat and listened, but my mind was like, huh? He's like, you know what I mean? He's trying to he's trying to explain it. Like, yeah, some of these people, they might yell at each other. I'm just getting I'm so intrigued. I'm so intrigued. And he goes, but I just want you to know, Peaches, okay? None of them are going to hurt you. They're angry at each other, but they're not going to hurt each other. They're just really, they might be mad, okay? And he was like, and that might not happen at all. That might not happen at all. It might just be we sit around and have a boring old talk. But, you know what I mean? And dude, I'm a little boy. How old was I at this point? Probably, I don't know, 7, maybe 6. And I'm just like, fuck yeah, yes, yes. In my mind. Outwardly, I'm like, okay, all right, all right. But in my mind, I'm like, dude, people are going to be yelling. It's going to be like wrestling. I had no idea. So we get there. I've got my little bag of McDonald's. I go over to the couch, and it's this, it's a comfy little couch that they have over there to just chill at before the meeting. And when the meeting starts, I'm the only one on it because they're all sitting around the table. And it's a big, long, rectangular table, and they're all sitting around it, mafia style, with my dad sitting at the head. I'm not saying that this, whoa, back. See, this is why you got to be careful when you're telling stories. I'm not saying that this particular union joint was part of the mafia. I was making an allusion to the way that the mafia is portrayed in movies, with the Don sitting at the head of the table, okay? I just want to make that completely clear. No, seriously, no mafia. It was just a glass molders union. Anyway, my dad's sitting at the head of the table. All his union reps are sitting around him, and anybody that has a grievance, which is what a union calls anybody that's butthurt. That's grievance is the term that unions decided to use so they wouldn't have to use the term butthurt. Now, sometimes that butthurt is totally justified, as is some butthurt in real life, but you know what I mean. That's what it means. The people that had a grievance would be at the end of the table, and it was their turn. When it was their turn, they would stand up and address the union and for redress of their grievance. Okay? So there were a bunch of people in attendance, most of whom I knew because I was, around them a lot. But there was one dude there, I knew him too, but I'd never been around him outside of this context. And it was also one of the first times I realized that Santa Claus was bullshit, because there was a guy there. I've changed his name for privacy purposes. Say his name is Joe Beavers. Joe Beavers is there. And it's right around Christmas time that this is going on. And every Christmas, Joe Beavers would dye his beard completely white, and he'd play Santa Claus. And he was a badass Santa Claus. But after that, he'd do the Just for Men gel shit, and he'd put it back. So nobody knew, so the kids around town didn't know that he was the Santa of the town. But Joe Beavers was also an employee of the plant that the union represented. And it was around Christmas time. And Joe Beaver, so basically, I'm 6, 7 years old, and Santa Claus is sitting there dressed in a, glass plant outfit, and he's pissed. I'm telling you, this is the best, this is the best fucking story. I looked at everybody at the table, and everybody's just kind of like, some of them look bored, some are laughing and chuckling. Santa Claus is pissed. He's like, he's doing the Trump thing, like Trump at a press conference with his arms folded in front of him, just like the, And I'm just like, oh, what the fuck? Because that was, you know what I mean? That was the dude that played Santa down at the store every year that we went and we got pictures with him and shit. And it was him, you know, because it was fucking Christmas time. His fucking beard died. Anyway, meeting goes on as normal. There's really no heated exchanges or something. I'm actually kind of getting bored at one point. And I'm starting to tune out. But then they say, all right, next on the agenda appears, you know, member Joe Beavers has a grievance that he would like to file. And he didn't even let the dude finish. He said, "You bet your fucking ass I do." And I was like, oh, it's happening. And it's Santa. Oh my God. He goes, "You bet your fucking ass I've got a grievance." And he stands up and he's got something in his hand. And I'm looking at him. I'm like, what the fuck's he got? Everybody's kind of like, "Joe, sit down, Joe. Joe, sit the fuck down, Joe. Come on." You know, and he's like, no, no, no. I'm going to be heard, goddammit. I'm a member of this motherfucking union, just like any of you cocksuckers in here. And I got a goddamn grievance, and I'm going to have my fucking president, and I'm going to have my fucking board hear my fucking grievance. I can't tell you guys how electric this shit was. I was flabbergasted. Most everybody else seemed to be too. There wasn't a lot of people even bothering to try and calm Joe Beavers down. Guess it was known, not by me. And he goes, in his hand, right? So anyway, he's got something in his hand and he's shaking it around as he's talking, and I'm looking. And, and I'm like, what is that in his hand? And it's like, I finally figured out it's a wadded up, like towel, like a towel that you would use to dry your face off in the bathroom or something. You know what I mean? Not a full blown like beach towel, but like, you know, a little hand towel. The slightly bigger variety, you know, the one you might use to wash your hands and, you know, anyway, whatever. So, and he's got it all kind of balled up and parts of it are hanging. He's shaking it around and he goes, "You want to see the grievance? Let me just show it to you." And the whole fucking place sat back, me included. My dad at the head of the table was like, The whole place was just like, "Yep, we want to see it." And he unveils it. This was the funniest shit that I'd ever fucking seen in my life. I can't believe I've never told this story, honestly, but it's just, you know, it's one of those things. It's in the files. Fucking, I shit you not, he unveils it. And it says on it, in big block letters, somebody had taken a marker and written Joe Beavers crying towel. Oh my God. I shit you not, dude. I shit you not. So I didn't get the joke. I was a little kid. The whole table erupted in laughter. I can't even describe you how, when he unveiled it, it was like he thought he was unveiling the pirate flag, you know, his ultimate piece of evidence. And when they read it, when everybody got a chance to read what it said, it started with like little snickers. And then it was like, you know, and the people were obviously like, trying to hold it back. And I'm just like, what the fuck? And Joe blew his fucking stack. "I knew I wouldn't get any representation in this motherfucking union. I'm taking this up. This kind of harassment, they left this in my locker. You understand? They left this hanging outside of my locker. What's next? Death threats to Joe Beaver's family? Is that going to be funny too? I'm not taking this goddamn bullshit from this fucking goddamn motherfucking union no more." And he grabs his crying towel and he stomps the fuck out. The room is fucking dead silent. Everybody is leaned back, having just kind of been craning to watch Joe storm out of the fucking meeting. I'm fucking dead silent because I don't know what the fuck. And my dad leans forward and kind of puts his elbows on the table, and he looks at everybody and he says, "Does anybody else have any business to bring before the union tonight?" And Nobody said anything. And he said, all right, I consider this meeting adjourned. And that was it. He came and grabbed me by the hand and we went home. Oh my God. Oh my God, dude. Poor Joe. Oh man. Oh shit. But you can imagine after that, I paid attention to every fucking word and learned all of the little terms and, anything I could pick up. I was fucking enthralled, at that point. I was enthralled, because it was beautiful. It was really a beautiful thing to see a human being so passionate about something, given a platform to just yell his motherfucking head off, and everybody just sat and listened, And, he probably had a point. I mean, maybe he was over-dramatizing it a little bit, but he probably shouldn't have to, if he's a dude that comes into the union with grievances, he should have those heard. And I think the implication was, and I've talked to my father about it, later in life, because I've chuckled about this with him before, and I've asked him, what do you think that crying towel shit was? He said, that they were just saying that, Joe was in there all the time. And Joe was always, not just at these smaller meetings, but at the big, monthly meetings where the whole membership get there. He makes a big old show of it every time, and people are tired of it. And, tired of it. The Joe Waters show. They just want to get through the goddamn meeting and be done with it. And somebody, I don't know who it was, but somebody decided to, write that on his fucking hand towel and leave it on his locker one day as a message to shut the fuck up, because everybody's tired of him, It was not a thing. He's like, the laugh told you what everybody thought about it being a threat of violence, If it was like, I'm going to kill you or some shit. But he was like, the implication was clear. Shut the fuck up, Joe. Whatever. There's a lot of colorful characters in my dad's union, and they had great names. Joe Beavers has a great name as well. It's not Joe Beavers. And I wish I could just use their real names, because Joe Beavers' real name is better than Joe Beavers, but, whatever. There was another dude, and I don't really have any stories about him. I only ran into him a few times, but his name was, Phil Smalley, or whatever the fuck. Just a big black dude that smoked like a freight train. He was a union representative that was higher up than my dad. One of the guys that was a go-between between my dad and the union at large. And he was a character, man. He would pull my dad into a meeting. He'd be like, one of my dad's favorite stories was like, he told me, and my dad does this fucking impersonation of him, and it was dead on. And you'll just have to believe me. Like, I'm not trying to be racist or anything. But he would say, Parky, here's what you're going to do. You're going to meet me downstairs in the lobby. They were staying at a fucking hotel, for a union conference. Parky, get your ass up. You're going to meet me down in the lobby. My dad was like, all right, Phil. So he gets up, he gets down there. Phil's standing over, by the restrooms. Like standing by the bathrooms, craning his neck, looking for my dad. Shit, I just almost said his whole fucking name. Phil was a big dude. And I'm not just talking fat. He was that too. But he was just like linebacker big. You know what I mean? Like, just big hulking dude. And he goes, come on, Parky. Come on now. Walks into the bathroom. And my dad's like, all right. And Phil walks in there and says, he says, do you mind sitting down and taking the stall next to me while I take care of some business? I just want to get this meeting out of the way. My dad was like, you want me to sit here with you while you shit, Phil? And Phil said, that's what I'm asking. And my dad said, okay. So he sat down in the stall next to Phil. And they had a talk while Phil, you know, dropped a blumpkin. Just funny, dude. Might as well say their names. Well, both of those the men in this story are dead, and I don't like, you know, I don't like making fun of people who are dead, you know, who can't speak up about the incident and shit. And you know, really that would come on the shoulder. Like if this ever did get real popular or something, and somebody made the connection, you know what I mean? Then it would be their family that would suffer because of that. I don't want to do that because of something he did. Why are you sober, Paul? I'm not. What makes you think I am? But anyway, part of my upbringing was, you know, a union kid. And it meant that I got to go to some protests and I got to see people very, very passionate about their life and their work. Well, their work lives, I guess, is a better way of putting that. And through just a process of watching them and listening to them and all of their little things, whether they were unfounded gripes or genuine wrongs done to them by the company, they were so defensive of their dignity at work, and they were so defensive of their time and their feeling as if they were being properly compensated. And that soaked into me in such a profound way. You know, and I made the connection eventually that it's because whatever you believe, Christian, Buddhist, whatever the fuck, whatever lie you got to tell yourself to get up in the morning, we're all in the same boat when it comes to that, except for some people. The vampires of society are not in that boat. But I'm talking to you guys, not the vampires. Not the 1%. Not to say that some of the people in the 1% didn't work for their fucking gravy, but it's a lot of inheritance going on, if you get my drift. I respect innovation. I respect that. I don't respect inheritance, though. And there's a lot of that in the 1%. Why don't you respect inheritance? Because I don't think that getting a bunch of money from your daddy confers any respect to you at all. 0% respect. I don't think that living a life in the lap of luxury, unless you're one of these people that just like, I inherited a $2 trillion empire and I immediately dissolved it and took only what I needed to sustain myself at a reasonable level of comfort and gave the rest of it to fucking charity. When have you ever heard that story? Those guys are exempt, but anybody else? Yeah. Yeah, if you started your life with a big check from daddy's estate and you live on that for the rest of your life and you use that to influence politics, and you know, or you take over a business empire that you had nothing to do with the founding of, and you just kick back and let the board run it and just leech off the fucking money for the rest of your life and shit, you get no respect. Like I get called fat and lazy all the time, and I'll be that. You know, I'll cop to that. But I work for my dinner. Okay? I go to the people. I come up with comedic bits. I tell stories. I dig deep into my past and personal emotional life. And I go in front of people and try and do something entertaining. And I succeed at it enough to pay my way through life. That's what we call a job. So say whatever you think about my, lifestyle as it is when it comes to what you consider work. At the very least, I'm doing something for my gravy. Some people don't. And those people get no respect from me. You got to earn that. I respect innovation. I respect rich people who are self-made. Think about that. And when I say self-made, I don't mean discovered by a record label and turned into a fucking CD slave. I mean invented something and created a new type of business, changed the way that things were done to the point where a company had to be established to, start a foray into a new market. Somebody that discovered something due to their brilliance and found a way to harness it that benefited all of us. Those are the people I respect. That's the rich I respect. People that took their fucking instinct and their intuition and turned it into a business. Not just any old fucking mom and pop. I'm not talking about opening up an Applebee's franchise. I'm talking about literally inventing a new business, inventing something that benefits the human race, discovering something that changes the way that we look at our lives. That's what I respect. Those are the rich people I respect. The rest of them, inherited. I don't care if you got a big check from your daddy or you got a big check from Def Jam Records. You think I make a distinction between daddy and Def Jam Records in your fucking life, rapper? I don't. That's why I do like Lil Pump, dude. Never an ounce of respect from me. Untalented. He even sings about it in his songs, that Skid It song. He's like, what's he do? He's like, got a new whip, got a new bitch, then I got a new deal. You just showed your fucking cards right there, didn't you? What do you mean deal? Didn't you invent something? Aren't you an innovator, Lil Pump? Didn't you make something new? Oh, wait a minute. You just signed a contract and now you fucking, that chain around your neck has a record label's fucking phone number on it. Call for instructions, I bet it says, huh? I bet if you flip over the fucking Lil Pump chain on the back, it just says call for instructions, whatever his fucking label is. Lil Pump, what do you think about this political thing? Hold on, could we pause the interview real quick? Let me check my chain. Hold up. Def Jam Records, how can I help you? Yeah, this Lil Pump. Yo, this Lil Pump. Can you hear me? I'm sorry, sir. I'm having trouble hearing you. You're getting bad reception. This Lil Pump. Hello? God damn, motherfucker. I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all aren't still rolling, are you? Okay, you not? You not? Okay, hold up. Fuck, I gotta check my chain again. Shit. This is Def Jam Records. How can I direct your call? God damn, man. This is Lil Pump. Excuse me, sir. What are you saying, sir? This Lil Pump, man. What the fuck, man? This Lil Pump. Sir, Lil Pump isn't here. If you're a fan of Lil Pump, I'd direct you to our website where he has his own little subpage. No. Sir, I can't help you, sir. I told you Lil Pump does not work at this facility. But he's somebody I should respect for having money. Whoops. But yeah, definitely open up the back of that truck and throw that label's money all over the place and stomp on the back window of that label's fucking Wraith. Tell me how many Wraith windows you're stomping in the back window of in 10 years, little pump. You want to impress me? Check in with me in 10 years if you're still stomping in on the back of Wraiths and opening up the backs of fucking, you know, bank trucks and just letting $100 bills float away on the wind. That's your money, right? No, it isn't. You got a loan. You got a whip and a chain. They just hide the whip. Well, I guess you got the whip too, huh? Let's get it. Being someone's bitch, let's get it. Working for a label, let's get it. Do what they tell me, let's get it. Don't have no ideas of my own, no limit. Look at this money. Look at this money. I don't know none of this. Look at this ice. Look at this rife. I don't know none of this. The label told me I could stomp in on my Wraith. Let's get it. Let's get it. Oops. All depends on perspective, though, you know. Little oops. Yeah, they rent cars and chains for videos a lot. Of course they do. I mean, their wardrobe is most likely not something that they had hanging in their closet. Now, they may, as a benefit of their contract, get to take that home, but somebody dresses them. Somebody from their label. Somebody tells them how to dress themselves. And then they bounce around, dancing around with some other dude's money, rapping horribly to a admittedly pretty dope kind of sparse beat. I like the sparseness of the beat to Eskid It. I think a more talented rapper could turn Eskid It into kind of a really interesting, you know, I don't know, whatever they were passionate about, I guess. But I doubt Lil Pump himself had anything to do with that beat. Like I said, somebody from his label gave him that beat. That's not always how it works. I'm not a fan of those types, but that is a straw man. You're right. That isn't always how it works. Artists that have a genuine talent. See, because you're right. Then I would have to like account for like, well, you don't respect Jimi Hendrix, man, because he had a label. And it's like, no, look, you're kind of bound as a creative person by the society that you live in. I can't expect people to be superhuman. Now, some people are. Some people are straight geniuses that transcend the bounds and limits and rules that we've set up. But I don't think genius is limited to just being able to do that. Take a guy like Hendrix, Roger Waters, whoever you want to, who do you want to put in there? Whoever you respect as an artist, Salvador Dali. You know, all of these men took corporate money. All of these men took other men's rich money for their work. All of these men, you know, were subservient to someone else. But their talent conferred them a level of respect. So to bring it back home to that question, it's not always the case like that with an artist. You're absolutely right. An artist that does something truly transcendent gets to dictate the terms of that contract. And they're probably going to have representation that knows that. And they're going to broker a deal that is going to be so over the top good. A good example of this is Ray Charles, right? And you can see this kind of played out dramatically in the movie Ray, which is actually, I think, really good. But Ray Charles eventually, you know, and it was a very different time for him too, so there were a lot more hurdles involved than your average thing. But that's why Ray Charles is a transcendent musician deserving of my respect, and Lil Pump is going to be doing shows in front of tiny little clubs in 10 years, wondering where all the fucking whips and chains went. And I'm trying to illustrate the difference between the men, right? Because Ray Charles was struggling with racism, which was totally rampant at this time. It was during the civil rights movement that he was buttering his bread. And, you know, I mean, obviously he started before that. But the man was doing his work at that time, and he was a black man. So he had that layer of struggle. And he had a layer of struggle back then where there was not proper representation for artists. The idea of artists' unions and, you know, it just wasn't something that every artist thought of to get representation. So a lot of artists at that time were at the mercy of their record labels, and record labels were brutal to these people. You know, particularly in the black community. They had this thing called the Chitlin Circuit, where they would take all these amazing black musicians from all over the scale, swing artists, jazz artists, you know, dancers and singers, and, you know, just fucking amazingly talented people of all stripes, bust them around the country like cattle, treat them like absolute dog shit, make them play 3 shows a day until they fucking collapse from fucking exhaustion. And that was basically par for the course. This may seem like hyperbole, but it isn't. That was really the way things were in the record industry at the time of Ray Charles. And Ray Charles reached a level of fame where he could dictate the terms of a contract that was so lopsidedly in the favor of him that it was almost like he took part of their ownership of themselves away in the process. He cut a deal with a major record label, I forget which one, I'm not a Ray Charles historian, that was just absolutely, it was just like, yeah, I work for you, you're going to pay me a bunch of money to keep working for you, you're going to distribute my work, but I'm going to retain all the rights to my work. I get to keep my masters, which means that I'm going to use your equipment and your money to live and sustain me, and trust me, it's going to be a lot of money. And when I'm done making what I make, I'm going to give it to you in a limited capacity to distribute it and sell it, and I'm going to take a cut of that. But I'm also going to keep it for myself. So if you ever fuck me over, I'm just going to start my own shit, or I'm going to sell it to somebody else for a better deal. Deal? Now, if Lil Pump walked in with that spiel right now to whatever label it is he works for, he would get laughed out of the fucking building. He would get laughed out of the fucking building. Ray Charles signed that deal. So, that's the difference, right? I didn't even bring up the royalty. I mean, it was just absurd. His deal was kicked the door open to brilliant people being able to just take a chunk out of these fucking companies and be like, yeah, you're going to sustain my life. I'm going to be a rich fuck. And I'm going to keep all of my shit too. So if I decide I want to take somebody else's money, if your money ain't green enough, somebody else's money starts smelling a little better, I pack up my bags and I go over there, and guess who now owns the whole catalog? This fucking company. Because you know what? They didn't fucking say no when I asked them to dig me a second swimming pool. That's the type of deal Ray Charles had. So, and he was one of the first people in recording artist history to have a deal like that. Ray wasn't always moral. Well, I mean, I guess he was, but Ray wasn't quick to come, like, he didn't jump on the fucking, he played black cities where big protests and massacres and bullshit had gone down, just like he played, you know, predominantly white cities. And I kind of applaud him for that, But at the same time, he ignored it for a long time. But he didn't ignore it, and you know, in perpetuity. And he finally did do the right thing. Oy vey. Well, anyway. Nowadays, Disney is destroying what Ray did. Well, that sucks. Let's have an argument about slow mode. Let's not, dude. Can't we all just get along? The same goes for Louis Armstrong. Louis is the godfather of that archetype. I mean, you're absolutely right. But there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of brilliant minds outside of music that we're, you know, just tabling in this discussion, because I think it's a broader kind of touching on the subject. I don't want to spend too much time on it. It just is what it is. There's a huge gulf between greatness and, um, you know, label bullshit, mediocrity that they feed you, that they think you want. You know what I mean? Like I said, you know, all the best to Lil Pump. Hate is gonna hate and all that shit. Whatever. Yeah. Just enjoy it while it lasts, I guess. Rock it till the wheels fall off. Me and my grandma take meds. Lil Pump made the beat for a Skidded. Well, then I tell you what, man, I may have to take back some of the shit that I said about him, because that beat is legitimately good. So, you know, whatever, dude. I'm a man of my word. If that's true, if that's not just a $2 troll super chat, but you know, I'll retract that. I'll go corroborate it myself later. But you know, if that's true, he's got some genuine talent. I really like I like a lot of this, like the Lil rappers. I like their beats. I hate what's over them, but I like a lot of that kind of trap rap, that just kind of really hollow sound that they have. I'd like to hear it, like the Jedi mind tricks guys get a hold of it. You know what I mean? Or I'd like to see, you know, that's the thing, man. I'd love to see some of the great minds of rap take some of these beats and just ask these guys, you know, be like, hey, yo, Lil Pump, can I use your beat, man? I want to maybe do a little something over it and do like a little tribute, you know what I mean? Whatever. And Lil Pump is obviously, you know, this is, you know, fucking Kanye calling, or, you know, one of the greats of rap, you know, fucking Method Man, or fucking, you know what I mean, Snoop, or anybody. Who the fuck, who do you want to hear over a good beat? Kendrick Lamar, if you're into that. He's gonna go, oh yeah, hell yeah, man, go ahead, dude, go ahead, man, because he knows that's just promotion for him. I guess that's the problem though. The label owns that beat, because I can guarantee you that he might have wrote it, but he don't own it no more. Who are your favorite rappers? My personal favorite rappers, like, see this list, it fluctuates. I always start with Slick Rick, because he was the first rapper I ever got into. The first rap song that I ever heard that resonated with me, and it was when I was a little kid. There's kind of a story to it. There's no great big punchline or anything to this story, but whatever. I'll ramble on about my childhood for a minute, and you can tune out if you're bored by shit like that. In the little town I grew up in, there used to be this thing called swap meet. And what that was is a bunch of shady bullshit, basically. But it's, you know, a big piece of land that's kind of roped off, and you can drive in there, and it costs a little money to get in, or sometimes it's free, I think. And there's just a bunch of stalls. And it's people in the community selling different shit, you know, fruit and clothing, and, you know, it's all set up like little retail outlets, you know, but it's not anybody that owns a shop. It's just people that probably make a lot of their living off the fucking swap meet. So anyway, I'm at the swap meet, and there's this dude that's got this tent set up. He's got a big old stall, man. and it was filled with tapes. And back then, that's what there was. I was young, so you know CDs, if they were out at this time, were new, and I didn't know what the fuck they were. But there was all these tapes. We were still talking about old analog tapes. And I was like, "Oh, Dad, dude, can I go look at the tapes? Can I go buy a tape?" And he's like, "You can't buy one, but you can go look for a minute. Just stay there, though. I want you to look right there." And I was like, "Okay, okay." So I'm going through all the tapes, right? Flipping through them, and I get to this one, and it's got this big, like, and it's a cartoon of a big fat black dude on it. It's three big fat black dudes. It's the Fat Boys. I didn't know it at the time. I'd never heard or seen this, and they're all like rapping into the mic and stuff. And it's like, I can't remember what the name of the album was. I wish I could, because I don't even know where that tape is now. But it'd be cool to still have it, because man, it was like a whatever, the best of hip hop or whatever, some stupid shit like that. And it was clearly bootlegged. You know what I mean? Somebody had cut this together and made this stupid little cover for it and all this shit, and he's selling them. And I'm going through it, and I saw that thing, and I was like, oh man, I want to hear what's on this. I had no reason to. I was just like, I want to hear what's on this. And my dad came to collect me. He's like, come on, it's time to go. And I was like, Dad, please, please. You know how kids do. Can I get this tape, man? And he's like, how much is the tape? The dude was selling it for like absurdly cheap. He's like 50 cents or something. My dad's like, all right, whatever. You have one tape. I was like, cool, I only want one. So I got that tape. And I took it home and went to my room, and I had a little tape player in there, and I popped it in. And I mean, the rest is history, dude. It had MC Ricky D and Dougie Fresh on it doing Ladi Dadi, which has been covered a million different times.
Yo,
What up, baby?
yo, what up?
What up, girl?
Yo.
It's been covered a bunch of times by a bunch of different artists. Ladi Dadi. It's let's see, the Fat Boys obviously were on there. It had Dane or Dane. It had there were a few artists on there that I didn't really listen to a whole lot, but those, oh my god, dude, crazy. So anyway, that was my first favorite rap hip hop song, was Ladi Dadi by MC Ricky D and Dougie Fresh on the beatbox, and it's a classic track. That's why everybody has covered it and aped the beat and everything else. But that song blew me away. It definitely like got me interested in an area of music that my parents were not exposing me to because they weren't into it. And I got really obsessed with it for a long time. It was all I wanted to listen to through all my really kind of angsty years, like 7th grade on. It was you know, pretty much all I did. Tupac or Biggie. People always want me to pick between these two dudes, and I picked Tupac, but only just because, I kind of miss that West Coast, East Coast rivalry, and I'm a West Coast kid, born and bred, so I got to go with my hometown guy. But in terms of talent, I I always go Biggie. He was something else. I mean, both of those dudes were. It's really hard, man. It was a really cool time to have those two dudes alive at the same time, beefing with each other, pushing each other to kind of go to greater heights and stuff. Pretty rare time. Well, I mean, MC Ricky D is Slick Rick. That's MC Ricky D is Slick Rick. So I really like Slick Rick. I guess he would probably be my favorite rapper of all time. Biggie had better flow, but Pac had more interesting content. I mean, that's dependent on taste. He was they were you gotta they were really influenced by the area that they grew up in, and hip hop had developed very differently. based on that distance. And Tupac was absolutely a master at providing that like West Coast flavor shit. And Biggie was an absolute tip top master at providing that East Coast flavor bullshit. And they were at the top of their games, both of them. I mean, and both of them just really amazingly technically talented, talented performers, talented writers. Once again, transcendent artists. Flavor. Flavor Town. How many black people do you think sit around glorifying white musicians? I don't care. Like why am I not allowed to talk about whatever musician I want to in whatever context I want to? We're talking about rap. Like I don't know, dude. Did you float over here from some kind of stream where it's expected that I'm not supposed to talk about talented people that don't have the same amount of melanin in my skin as I do? Because if so, you might want to fucking find the door quick. In fact, if you have a problem with me saying whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want, and however the fuck I want, then also find the door. Don't pop your head up again, bitch. I'm serious, dude. Don't say a goddamn thing. I'll show you what a cucked stream this is, dude. I'll fucking kick your fucking faggoty ass. I got no respect for your fucking right to free speech in the public space. Wu-Tang for the Paul. I like Wu-Tang. Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang. What are some other foundational albums for you? Toxicity is one that always comes to mind for me. Foundational albums. Like albums that changed my mind, branched out my. You guys are gonna laugh at one of them, but whatever the fuck, dude. Whatever the fuck, dude. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. These are musical albums that had a very deep personal impact on the way that I listen to music, in no particular order, and in no particular, with no respect to any genre. These are just the ones that are very personal to me. In addition to that little tape that I talked about, which was just a mixtape. Some of these you guys can probably guess just knowing me, or if you're looking at, while it's not my favorite album of theirs, Nevermind by Nirvana was an album that absolutely changed the direction of my musical taste. Well, wouldn't say direction of my musical taste, because I remain into the other things, but kind of broadened it. I would say, see, it's hard to put albums on this list, but I would say, Pretty Hate Machine by 9 Inch Nails. It's, one of those albums you'll never forget hearing for the first time, and I'd never heard anything like it either. It was my introduction to that sound, that kind of industrial movement that was just starting. So Pretty Hate Machine for sure. Pink Floyd. I was shown Pink Floyd by my stepdad when I was in my teens, and I scoffed at it and thought it was sucked. You fucking old bullshit, classic rock, man. But I actually listened to it. He gave me a copy of it as a gift, and I listened to it, and I was just absolutely blown away by its brilliance. And that's just The Wall. And, once again, not even my favorite Pink Floyd album, but definitely a more foundational album than any other Pink Floyd album in terms of my tastes in music. Another album that I would have to put on there is Ween the Mollusk. That's not the one I'm worried about. I don't care if you guys laugh at me for that. And it's in that same position. It's not my favorite Ween album, but it is the album that broadened my mind and made me aware of a different tone of music, a kind of darkly comedic tone that I didn't even know really existed in music. Here's the one you guys are going to laugh at. I've been avoiding it, so I'm just going to get to it. It's way earlier than any of these, but whatever. You're not going to let me make any excuses for this, so I'm just going to come out and say it. Rope in the Wind by Garth Brooks. Anyway, beyond that one, beyond that one, it's let me think. There's a couple more we'll talk about. Yeah, we'll just So anyway, you guys all heard that, right? So whatever, dude. Whatever. Don't be mean, dude. No bully. Okay. You asked me for my list. Okay. You don't have to be an asshole that likes Garth Brooks. Okay. I have to. I bear that cross.
Non-tippity Pop-Tart?
No, thank you. Well, actually, yes, I kind of do. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Rope in the Wind by Garth Brooks was, because it kicked the door open for country for me. Because country was one of those things that my parents would listen to from time to time. I always thought it sucked. I always hated it. And then Garth Brooks came along, and my mom was like, oh my God, she played it nonstop for a while. And I started listening to it, and I was like, man, this is pretty fucking awesome, actually. Like, I can sing to show you that I'm, like, because I get called out a lot of time for being, like, fraudulent and stuff. And they're just like, Paul probably doesn't even know Garth Brooks. There's a song on that album called The Thunder Rolls, which is one of the coolest fucking songs ever. And it's a story about, I mean, every one of his songs tells just a really cool story. It is really evocative of somebody in a very different position. But it's really a story about a dude that's cheating on his wife and what happens to people when that gets found out. But it's told in such a really, it's told like a movie, So it starts with 3:30 in the morning, not a soul in sight. City's looking like a ghost town on a moonlit summer's night. Raindrops on the windshield. There's a storm moving in. He's heading back from somewhere that he never should have been. And the thunder rolls. And you can just see it. He's in the car. The fucking storm is coming in. The rain starts, and he turns on his windshield wipers. And
that is what I like about country songs.
See, that's what I'm saying.
They really do a good job at painting a story, but it's a good country song.
Hold on. I think it's better.
Okay. I'm listening.
I gotta eat this Pop-Tart, though, so you'll have to wait. This is a good story. I love this story.
Chocolate milk?
Chocolate milk. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. I'm gonna set this down. I'll eat it in a minute. Okay, he's heading back from somewhere that he never should have been. The thunder rolls. No. Every light is burning in the house across town. She's pacing by the telephone in her favorite flannel gown, asking for a miracle, hoping she's not right. Praying that it's the wind and rain that's kept him out all night. And the thunder rolls. She's in the house. She's by the phone. This is before cell phones. So she's not blowing him up. She's just waiting for him to call her back and be like, I'm okay. But she knows. She's hoping he might have had a, skid off the road or got a flat or something. She's hoping it's something like that. Not what she suspects. Brilliant fucking song. Am I wrong? And it goes from there. And then, you get to the chorus. And then I'm trying to remember the rest of it. I always remember the beginnings of these songs.
You want me to look up the lyrics for you?
Yeah.
What's the name of the song again?
Thunder Rolls. I might be able to get it. Hold on. If I dig deep enough. It's been a while since I've listened to it, so hold on.
Cowboylyrics.com.
Hold on. Don't read them to me yet, though.
I won't.
The love goes gold. goes on out of control. Deep in her heart, the thunder rolls. And then,
It says faded flannel gown.
fade. Okay, whatever. I might have got it wrong.
Easy mistake.
Yep.
Maybe it's.
It's some. Maybe it's. Just give me the first line of the next part.
She's waiting by the window.
She's waiting by the window when he pulls into the drive.
Yeah.
She rushes out to hold him, thankful he's alive. Through all the wind and rain, a strange new perfume grows. Blows, and the lightning flashes in her eyes, and he knows that she knows.
Yeah.
And the thunder rolls. So that's a beautiful stanza too. Think how thoughtful that is, right?
Yeah.
Because it's beautiful in a bunch of ways, but she's really worried about him. She loves him. She has a suspicion. He comes home, she rushes out, grabs him. That ain't mine. That's not my shampoo. That's not my perfume. That's somebody else on him. And then the lightning flashes in her eyes, and he knows that she knows. The lightning, the storm that rolled in with him, actually sends lightning, which would happen before the thunder rolls. The lightning flashes in her eyes. He knows that she knows. The next line, the thunder rolls. So he even accounts for how lightning works. We see it before we hear it. And that's how this argument is going to unfold as well. He sees it in her eyes. And then the thunder rolls. I won't keep going through it, but
There's another
I know there's a whole nother thing, but I'm just telling you that's why I love that album. That's why I love Garth Brooks.
Oh, that took a dark turn.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Maybe I should finish it for him.
Yeah, you should.
Here, can I just read it?
Yeah.
Because this one I always have trouble with because it's, let's see. I'll just finish the story for you. May as well. All right. She runs back down the hallway to the bedroom door. She reaches for the pistol kept in the dresser drawer. Tells the lady in the mirror he won't do this again, 'cause tonight will be the last time. She'll wonder where he's been. So you can see how that ended up. And then, of course, it ends with the thunder rolls, which would be how a lot of people describe the sound of a, very loud handgun going off, like thunder, like a thunderclap. So the thunder rolls one last time after that. So, he even gives you that without describing the bloody murder, without being like, she fucking holds the gun on him and he starts to fucking cry. He doesn't go there because he's a smart songwriter, She's like, you fucking pussy fucking bitch, it's time to fucking die. None of that. He just lets you come up with that. That's brilliant. But anyway. Another one that some people might consider embarrassing, I don't, is Huey Lewis and the News 4, which I've seen Huey Lewis and the News 3 times in my life, so I just have a connection with the music. It's very 80s. A lot of people would argue very gay. I concede the point. Go on and hate Huey Lewis and the News, and I'll continue to love them. Friends in Low Places is great. Like, whatever. I'm not going to spend all night on goddamn fucking Garth Brooks, but you get my drift, right? That's just off the top of my head how brilliant that song is. And, if I spent some time thinking about it, I could probably think of 19 different angles on that song. It's just... What's next? Kid Rock? No. Nope, Kid Rock. Honestly, if I had to pick one more, me think about it.
Have you ever heard of this song, this country song?
How am I doing?
They played it at Cracker Barrel when I worked there. And
Who does it?
And I love this song.
Oh yeah.
And it says Dirks Bentley. It's a funny song.
Cool. I don't know. I don't really feel any need to add any more albums, honestly. I think it's a pretty good list. It's a stupid exercise anyway. Do you like the instrumentals? Yes, if they're good. Like anything that's good. Ask me what good is, I'll ask you what good is. Good is what I think it is, and good is what you think it is to you. But they should, because it's not just about the pleasures of conformity and the importance of trends. It's also a personal statement about the band itself. Hey, Paul. Hey, Coolman. Some clippages, dude. Yeah, I am actually going to put up... It's been really cool, man. Coolman is cutting up some clips from these for you guys. He's been around a while, so I'm sure he knows of some memes that, when he has some free time on his hands, he'll cut up for you guys. He already donates a lot of time to you guys, just moderating in here and dealing with the tism, so...
Mods in the Discord, too, and that's...
But, yeah, oh yeah, he's modding the Discord, too, so... The boy is donating a lot of his time to keeping things running for you guys, so... Be thankful to him. And look forward to another one of his clippages from a very old Highdeology.
Yeah,
This was way...
about it earlier.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of these people might not have been here. But yeah, so you guys will like it, I think. And yeah. I think I'm going to go ahead and end this. I don't know.
Why?
I'm conflicted. Do I want to end this?
Do you?
I'm really torn, and I'm usually not. I'm really torn, and I'm usually not.
Why do you feel like ending it?
Because my back really hurts. And I'm sitting in a chair that really doesn't support that at all. And then, furthermore, I'm having to hunch over to talk to these people and stuff.
Why don't you go and continue it in a chair that does support your back? Would that work, or do you just want to pull the fucking plug?
I don't know.
Would you want to continue talking to these people if you were in a more comfortable chair?
I don't know. We've been having a fun conversation tonight. I guess, yeah. If I wasn't sitting, I mean, there's a chair back there that is even better than this one. I just use. Oh wait, I can't sit in it because it's fucking full of water. See, this is what I'm talking about, dude. Louisiana fucking sucks.
Is it still full of water?
No, it's full of water because it rained for like 15 seconds this morning.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you should go like into your studio area.
Oh man, here's the thing though, I have a mental block against that because I feel like it's not this stream anymore. Then I'm starting a new stream and then I feel like people are gonna like be like, if I only chill there for 20 minutes, people are gonna be like, fuck that.
What? No.
See, that's the thing though, this is the kind of hang-ups my stupid fucking brain has.
Hey, Paul's stupid fucking brain. They come here for you. For you. They want to see you, no matter where you are sitting. I'm sure that you could lay on your fat ass like Brett Keane and eat mac and cheese.
I mean, every once in a while...
Everybody would be fine with it.
Every once in a while, a man can be the manatee. All right, I'm going to end this stream, and I'm going to start another stream. I'm going to probably try and see if I can make myself a J or something, because this... I need to be in a better chair. So anyway, I'll see you guys in a few minutes. Give me a few minutes, yeah? Might eat something too, so I don't know. If I'm not there, what I'm saying is it might be 20 minutes, okay? Don't give me shit.